Hello everyone. One of the most frequently asked questions we receive from parents and student athletes is how to handle the dilemma of whether to play more for the high school or for the club, that tug-of-war between those two environments. And what we want to do here is give you some guidelines. Now, they're not rules because every situation is slightly different, but these are some guidelines that you may take into consideration as you're making your decision on where to spend most of your time. So remember, one of the things for high school is that you're building up your leadership and your loyalty to a program. And for club, what you're trying to do is make sure that you're playing against other college level student athletes, and a college coach wants to see both environments. They want to see how you react and act when you don't have everyone on your team that's really a great player, and that's your high school environment. How do you handle situations where you have to show leadership and step up and step forward? And then on the club program, they want to see what happens when you're playing against kids that can play at the collegiate level and are equal to you in talent. How do you handle that? They're both important. At what point in time do you give more weight to one or the other? So let's get started. So the first things we want to do is we're going to make a few assumptions here. And the first one is that you're at least playing at the varsity level or the next level down, which is usually junior varsity, but sometimes it's named differently depending on the sport and the school and the area of the country. The second is that your high school is competitive. Competitive, we mean that to make the varsity team, there is a large enough competition, or there are enough good players there that you didn't just get put on the team because you tried out. It's because you had to beat out some pretty good athletes. So we want to make sure you're in a competitive environment. And number three, that you've already played 1 year of high school sports. So we're going to start at the freshman level, but we're starting as a way that you're going from your freshman year to your sophomore year, not coming into your freshman year. So we're going to move forward year by year by year. Okay, so those are the assumptions we're making. If you have not played junior varsity or varsity level, if you haven't made that, maybe you're on the soft team, then the rules will change, and I'll make a separate video for that. But for right now, these are our assumptions. So let's start as a freshman going into your sophomore year. You're going into that summer of your sophomore year. Your high school team is number one because you have to get to a point where you are a key player on your high school team. That is going to be really important for you moving forward. So high school comes first. Second, personal training. And when we say personal training, you want to get a personal trainer who understands who you are. One of the biggest mistakes I see are parents and student athletes going to either group training, where they're just one of a group, or they go to a personal trainer who has a great reputation and maybe a great trainer, but doesn't train based on who you are, what your skill set is, what your speed, what your abilities are. That's what you want. You want a trainer who understands what you do. Let's say you were playing a particular sport. Let's say it's basketball, and you found and you're a big man, and you found a great trainer for big men. Well, that's great, but what you need to do is find a trainer that understands big men that like to face up, because that's what you do best. Those are the types of things that you're trying to find. You're trying to look for someone that understands what you do. And then you'll see we also want you to, since you were around the varsity or you were on the junior varsity and you're still around the varsity, because sometimes they practice together, that you're looking to address a team need, that you paid attention during that year. The parents need to pay attention, and the student athlete. What does that team need? What is something you can go in, say you're not better than the person that's in front of you right now. What can you do to get on the court or on the field or in the game? And so those are things you want to address with your personal training. Next, I'm going to recommend you go to a high-level sport camp. And I'm going to stay in the basketball area because that's one of the areas that I know best. If you were going to do this, I would say a camp such as a Point Guard College. It's a great camp, and it's more about thinking the game, and they do add on the physical pieces and how to approach the game, but it's more of a cerebral approach to the game than just a physical approach to the game. You need both, but you already have the personal training, and they're going to add that at the camp. But those are the types of camps. So take a look at what they do, and as you're looking for your sport camp, try to look for a camp that's going to give you those things. And then number four, you want to be on a club team. But as a freshman, you don't want to spend a ton of money and go clear across the country to play in all these games, because right now the college coaches are not looking at freshmen. Usually your body's not there. If you are there, that's fine. You can go ahead and do it. If you have the money, or you want to spend the money, or you just want to see how it is, feel free to do it. But if you're going to be on a club team, or you're going to go to a combine or a showcase, or you're going to go to a tournament, I would stay local and regional at this point in time. You're in your freshman year. This is going to get costly for you if you try to do too much too fast. What you're trying to do is make sure you make varsity if you play JV, or that you get some playing time at the varsity level during your sophomore year. For your sophomore year, you're going into your junior year, and you're going over the summer. High school team is still first. Now you want to become, if you had an opportunity in your freshman year to get on the court at the varsity level, now you want to get more playing time or even become a starter. You've done great, and that means you have to show that loyalty and that dedication to your high school team. If you were a junior varsity player, then you want to be where you can get at least onto the varsity team, but you don't want to get on the varsity team if you're never going to play. I think you're better off being the stud on the JV team, and maybe they pull you up if they make the playoffs. Club and combine and showcases, and now you want to start looking at these. You want to go local, regional, but you may leak out a little bit more, but you want to do a couple of these from now on, right? You want to not just go to one or two, but maybe 3 or 4 of these if you can find. If your club team is playing a lot of games, you want to make sure that you're playing against better known teams. So if the previous year you played on a club team, just to get a feel for playing at college level players, if you need to, you might have to step up to a bigger and a more prominent team and go try out for them so that you can play again in bigger tournaments against better players. Personal training. Back again, I still think this is really important, especially your freshman and sophomore years. Now you're going position specific. You kind of see from your club team and from your high school team where you fit in your sport, where you should be concentrating. And now you want to be really position specific in both ways. You want to learn now how to dominate that position. And so those are the things you want to do with your personal trainer. Again, get a personal trainer that looks at you, your body size, your speed, your athleticism, all of those things. How do you dominate at that position with your tool set? And then you want to see if you can get into a local college sport camp. And this is where you're using the AthleticSOS software program, and you're starting to identify some local colleges that kind of fit where you're thinking about going, and so you want to go to one of their camps. Most of the colleges have a camp during the summer, and now you want to attend and get the attention of those college coaches and let them know you're really interested in their program. Now, our junior year. Now we're coming out of our junior, and this is probably the most important year for you. And so now you want to be on a top club team. Now, I don't want you jumping around from club team to club team to club team. You should have found your club team that you want to be on during your sophomore to junior year. And now you want to go national. If you want to make their top club team. A lot of the big club teams have lower level teams, but by junior year, you need to be on their top team, or you need to find another club. You need to be at the highest level. By your junior year, if you can play at the collegiate level, you should at least be on the top team for that club. You want to make sure you get to play. That is important, but you want to make sure also that you can make their best team. That shows that you're an elite level athlete. Same thing for combines and showcases. Now you want to go to the best of these, the Nike camps, the Adidas camps, the big camps. You want to see if you can get to those combines and those showcases and those tournaments. High school team, you still want to make time to make sure you play with your high school team during their summer tournaments. And this is where communication is really important. And it's important for the other previous years also. You want to go and talk to your coach, let them know what your ambitions are as far as playing collegiately, because you still want your high school coach in your corner. And so you want to tell them, let's look at the schedules. Here's where my club team's going to be, or these are combines or showcases that I plan on attending. Do you understand that I won't be able to play with the high school team during this time period? I want to, but I really want to get out there and show ourselves across the country. Again, if you're using AthleticSOS, then your coach and you are on the same page anyway, and this should not be a problem. And then I would say your personal training, again, you want to still do personal training, and you want to get even better at that position. And then you want to look at a secondary position, because some of the times the position that you're playing in high school where you can be really dominant, you don't have the size and strength to play that position at the collegiate levels. You move on, you want to start looking at where am I going to be if I do get an opportunity to play at the collegiate level. If it is your position, that's fine. You better get better and make sure you have the skill set to play that position at the collegiate level. So make sure your personal trainer is someone who has trained college level athletes and not just high school athletes. So you're graduating year by year. Ask questions, parents. Find out who's the best. When your kid's playing on a club team or whatever, find out where other people go to get their training. Don't rely on the club training only. Don't rely on your high school coach for training only. Find someone who knows how to train your child as an individual. You should be doing individual only training at this point, personal training. And then you want to go back. If that experience was good the previous year for that college camp, go ahead and go back to that camp and then pick another school that you're interested in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a local school. Maybe it's a camp that's a little bit further away or at a different level of school. Say you were looking at Division III or Division II schools or Division I schools. Go a level up or level down and see where you fit in for that year. So that's your junior year. You're getting prepared now to be seen on the circuit. So when you go out, if you're using AthleticSOS correctly, there should be coaches at every single event you go to. All of your high school games when you were senior, all of your travel club combine showcases, you should have a coach at each one of those events if you're doing things the right way. So we want to go to the previous college camp, let them know you're dead serious about that college, and then you want to go to an additional one. And then your senior year. So your senior year, you don't get to have another summer, right? So you need to make sure that your club and travel team, and if they don't have it, you need to find a place where they have a seniors only, unsigned seniors type event. Your high school team is not going to be able to help you after the season. However, your high school team is your key during that year, for that your senior year. You need to make sure coaches are coming out to see you if you haven't signed early, if you haven't signed, if you're playing a winter sport or something. I think for basketball, you would actually sign a little bit earlier than that. I think it's sometime in September. So that's why your junior year was so important. But let's say you haven't signed, all is not lost. Don't forget, you can still have coaches come out, and especially your local coaches, but we want you to reach out even further. Your Division II, your Division III, your NAIA schools are still looking. They're looking all the way until the day you graduate. Actually, they're looking all the way until it's time to enroll in college. So you have tons of events that you can go to and still get seen. This is where your reach out is really important between you, your high school coach, your travel club coach. You guys should be working overtime. And then you yourself, you should be reaching out and getting to any events you can, any combines, anything that's going on. You want to get there and make sure someone is coming to see you, and you go to everything that you can. And again, you want to repeat if you won't really be able to go to the college camp anymore, but this was really for that summer before so those are the things you want to do. And then finally, use AthleticSOS. Invite college coaches to each and every event in which you participate. This is the gold. I can't stress that enough. And that's what you have to do. So these are just guidelines. Sometimes you have a high school coach who will really be hard on you about attending their events. It's getting very competitive now. High school sports has become year round. This is what we recommend when we're talking to someone. Take it with a grain of salt. If it fits your profile, or you were just a little bit concerned, or you were looking for a plan, you can use this plan. But stay in the game, keep your head up, make sure everyone that you're interested in knows you're interested in their program, and you should be fine. All right, everybody, best of luck to you. Bye.